Welcome, I'm Nandini Tandon. Today we had a conversation with Pitch Johnson and you're watching TiEcon Live. I'm Nandini Tandon. Welcome to TiEcon Live. It is such a pleasure and such an honor today to interview the one and only Pitch Johnson. Pitch has left many lives, and each of his lives he has led beautifully and in his own way, and he's a legend in our industry. And he, I think, gets his passion and inspiration from his father, who was a coach in the Olympic athletes.
Yes,
right?
He was an Olympic athlete, not an Olympic coach. That's right.
Oh, he was an Olympic athlete?
He was a college coach, of course, after the Olympics. But he was a great inspiration and a guy who didn't like to lose very much.
Did not like to lose. Okay, sounds good. Sounds like he passed those genes on to you.
Hope so.
And not only is Pitch local, he went to Palo Alto High, but he also went to Stanford. And his first love was physics, moved on to engineering, and then went to Harvard Business School.
Correct.
Air Force, steel mills, starting his own venture capital fund, and so on and so forth. So of all these different lives that you have led, Pitch, the one question that we have for you is, how did somebody who was an engineer from Stanford end up in life sciences?
Good question. The life sciences, the underlying science didn't exist when I was in college. So I think the short version is, after I came back out here from my years in the steel mills, which was great work, heavy work, exhausting work, and just made me feel like I was doing something. Mm-hmm. I then joined my friend Bill Draper, also from the same steel company, a salesman, in a venture fund. And it just struck me that something had gone on. The two things had gone on I wasn't up on. One was computers and semiconductors. The other one was genetic engineering. Mm-hmm. So Stanford offered a course which I took as a graduate. I was in good standing. I was able to enroll in an undergraduate course called molecular biology. Mm-hmm. Had a very good professor and a lot of later on Nobel Prize winning guest speakers. I really got turned on to the potential of the use of organisms, non-human organisms, to be engineered into making human hormones and proteins. Mm-hmm. And without going into a lot of detail, ended up being a founding investor in a founding venture capitalist, one of the two in Amgen, which worked out real well. But in the meantime, I had a whole series of them. The first one was called Chromatronics, which made a pioneer protein analyzer and sequenator, and even assembled some nucleic acids into genes on a very primitive basis in the late 60s, by the way. And then Hypertech and IDEC, along with Amgen, also were quite successful companies. So I just got, I had a hot streak in the area, but I was in early. I was far from the only person. And so I had some terrific guys that worked with me and for me, Brooke Byers and Craig Taylor, who also were very good at this stuff. So that whole biotech period of my life, which is still going on, I guess you'd say, was an exciting time, both because it was rewarding financially, but something special about doing biotech deals, because in the end you're helping people in ways you couldn't possibly help them with a computer or software.
That is true. That is, you definitely touch the human angle. So question, you have touched so many different fields. You're a pilot, you've been involved in the war, you've worked in steel mills, you've had your fund, you've been the founding member of Amgen, which is one of the most well-known biotech company in the world. What is the mantra, what is the personal philosophy that has driven you to succeed and touch so many different fields?
Let me just correct one thing. I never fought in a war. I was in the Air Force during the Korean War, but I was not in Korea. So my buddies who fought there deserve the recognition. I don't. But
how gracious of you.
I think the mantra, I don't know if I had a mantra, but I did have a desire to work hard and compete. I had a desire to, I think, bringing companies into existence, helping them grow, in most cases succeeding and sometimes failing, I think that's a very creative life. So I felt the mantra, if there is one, and I'm not, that's not my kind of word, but it was to create successful companies, and in doing so, have a great life. And I had a terrific family, so I tried to balance, although it's hard, family life and business life, along with a lot of other stuff that I like to do. But the idea was to work hard, build new things, use your imagination about where the world might be going, especially where markets might be going. So I did a lot of other deals besides biotech, like Tandem Computers, which wasn't my deal, but I was in it very early. So I was always sort of been a switch hitter that worked in biotech and healthcare and in the information sciences.
So you've been in the VC industry for 40 plus years. The world is going global. What is your advice to the next wave of entrepreneurs and VCs who are coming on the scene, and who are getting more involved? What is your advice, looking at the global industry now?
Well, I just have to look back a little bit to answer the question, because we were rare birds. There was 12 of us in the Bay Area. We used to meet monthly to talk about venture capital, have dinner, and you could easily get in anybody's deal. Everybody offered everybody his or her deals. So that was small. Now it's institutionalized. It's big.
It's true.
There's been a contraction in the last few years, so there's been little or no opportunity for new people. Now, I think it's expanding again, both as to the number of firms and as to the number of amount of money in the business and the number of people in it. The best thing I would say to anybody coming out of school would be, go get a real job in a real company first. Don't jump into venture capital because it looks like a coat and tie job, and you don't have to get your hands dirty. I think that I don't care whether you're interested in engineering, production, marketing and sales, or even accounting and that end of it. Go get a real job, and so you know what a company is. If you're a venture capital and you're trying to decide what companies to invest in and work with, especially, how can you know that if you haven't got some time where you've worked in a company and know what a company is when it's functioning? So my advice would be, go get a real job first.
And a last quick question. You've done many, many different things. You've done them very well. How did you balance it? What are the price that you paid, you think, in doing so many things? Or maybe you didn't, because you chose a pathway that allowed you to succeed without paying a
well,
price
like all
of the personal
fathers,
life.
I would second guess myself. I wish I'd spent more time at high school games and track meets and doing stuff with the kids. We had good vacations together, but I was always getting home at 6, 7 o'clock. The kids would always have eaten. So, and they're great, have turned out to be very fine young people. So I'm very proud of them as human beings and people. Maybe they'd be better off if I spent more time or not. But I think just about every father or mother, even with mothers, they have to spend time. But fathers, I think many fathers would say, gee, I wish I spent some more time with the kids. But that's a little bit of a regret. But I did spend a lot of time, and we're close now, all 4 of them and me and my wife. So that's what I would say. I don't regret it exactly. I just say if I had to balance it out again, I don't know whether the same results would have occurred, but I could have spent some more time with them.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your very candid and genuine, heartfelt answer, and we really appreciate your taking the time, and looking forward to having more interactions with Ty and with Pitt Johnson. And with that, please watch more episodes on myTiEcon.org. Thank you.